and Helena Belchior Rocha. She's a social worker. She has his PhD on social work, and she's assistant professor of ISCTE. ISCTE is one of the three universities of Lisbon. We have the University of Lisbon, we have the new University of Lisbon, and then we have the most recent ISCTE. And in the department, Helena teaches in social work, in the Department of Political Sciences and Public Policies, and she's the Deputy Director of the Transversal Skills Laboratory. She is integrated research on the Research Center of Sociology of ISCTE, and Center for Research and Studies in Sociology. And she's linked to national and international research projects, namely two of them from Marie Curie Actions. And she's author of papers and communications at national and international congresses in the areas of social work, theory and methodology, environment, sustainability, community intervention, ethics, human rights, social policies and well-being, education and soft skills. She's also a member of several national and of the editorial board of national and several national and international journals. Thank you, Helena.
Thank you, Duarte.
And let's now listening, Helena.
Are you listening me? Good. Good morning. I want to start by thanking for the invitation to be here today, especially to Eduardo Marques and Duarte Vilar, and also the organizing committee that, by the way, I congratulate because everything is excellent. And I want to compliment all and each one of you, participants and colleagues, speakers, and the colleagues that were in the opening session, and present the compliments of my rector of ISCTE, Professor Maria de Lourdes Rodrigues, to Professor Oliveira Martins, rector of Lusíada University. And say that I'm delighted to be a speaker at the 24th International Conference on Diversity in Organizations, Communities and Nations, held in this university, not only because it was the university where I graduate and master, but also because I started my PhD here 14 years ago in this area, and I can risk to say that me and Eduardo are the pioneers in social work in this area of research. Not only national, but international, because 15 years ago, nobody linked social work with the environment, maybe our pioneers. Therefore, through this presentation entitled Harmony in Diversity, Crafting a Sustainable Tomorrow Between Climate Crisis, I hope to delve into the connections between diversity, equity, and sustainability, and now they are integral to building resilient communities in the face of climate uncertainties. Together, I expect that we can explore how diversity enriches our collective experiences and serves as a catalyst for creating an harmonious and sustainable future for all, and be able to see the integrate connections between all this and the critical role that inclusive practices play in shaping resilient communities in the course of climate crisis. I'm going to be very honest with you. I finished my presentation 30 seconds ago or something, as we all know, and I have a plane to catch after I speak, so I'm nervous. I'm stressed, okay, but that is part. It's just because usually I don't want to read, but this time it has to be because we cannot be everywhere in an excellent way. So I apologize for that. But thinking about the concept of diversity in a very simple way, diversity is the difference between two or more things. And we can see diversity and difference in plants, in trees, in bushes, in flowers, in grass, and also in animals. For example, in dogs, there are big dogs, small dogs, long-haired dogs, short-haired dogs. So in people, things such as race and skin color, religion, age, disabilities, make us different from one another, and this diversity is the richness of the world. So diversity is a set of characteristics that make us unique. Individual characteristics make the society and the organizations able to count on people with different demography, culture, ethnic, skills, and aptitude characteristics. People characteristics allow, by similarity, to be integrated in the same group and simultaneously distinguish each group from all groups. And these characteristics are very diverse: physical, habits, custom, gastronomy, housing ornaments, cultural heritage, economic, religious, rituals, funerals, for example, language. And the concept of diversity encompasses acceptance and respect. It means understanding that each individual is unique and recognizing our individual differences. Really, diversity is created by individuals and groups from a broad spectrum of demographic and philosophical differences. So diversity means more than just acknowledging and or tolerating difference. It's a set of consciousness practice that involve understanding and appreciating interdependence of humanity, cultures, and the natural environment, practical mutual respect for qualities and experiences that are different from our own, understanding that diversity includes not only ways of being but also ways of knowing, and recognizing that personal culture and institutionalized discrimination creates and sustains privilege for some while creating and sustain disadvantage for others. So building an alliance across difference so that we can work together to eradicate all forms of discriminations includes knowing how to relate to those qualities and conditions that are different from ours and outside the groups to which we belong, yet are present in other individuals and groups. And there are 5 dimensions for human diversity, dimensions that we can perceive as soon as we look at someone, and that cannot be changed. Others are differences perceived, but that we can change: hair color, neighborhood, city, knowledge. The 3rd dimension is related to the different behaviors we have when we are facing the same stimulus, and other is related to how we behave when we face with hierarchical issues, and the last one is related to behavior patterns of people who are outside their country of origin. And this means that think about diversity implies collective space, right to difference, cultural values and code, social disadvantages, and exposure to inequalities. One of the founding principles of the European Union is respect for its diversity, protecting and celebrating the diversity of colors and of cultures under the umbrella of the Union. It is the key to ensure a prosperous future, they say. So, united in diversity is an underlying principle of European Union, and Europe is made up of many ethnic groups. The European Union has become more diverse with the recent enlargement and new members, and more international movements is an inevitable consequence of globalization and increasing economic interdependence. And Europe benefits from inward migration economically, socially, and culturally. So it is extremely important to support and protect diversity, because by valuing individuals and groups free from prejudice, and by fostering a climate where we will create equity and mutual respect, it's important because we are success-oriented in a cooperative and caring community that draws intellectual strength and produces innovative solutions from the synergy of its people. When I teach conflict management, I always say that conflicts are good, because if we can share our differences, that is what is creativity. And if we can observe the ideas of others, that is what is going to be innovation. The term, the concept that everybody says, you have to innovate. So that is innovation, but we have to listen. We have to know about the others. We don't have all the information. So the reconciliation of a political and economic union with cultural diversity is one of the greatest challenges that we are going to face, and we are currently facing. More than ever before, cultural differences inflated by populist movements appear as a threat to the viability of the European integration project. Culture is not just seen as an obstacle in Europe. Diversity is also perceived as an important resource for societal improvement, including the promotion of innovation and competitiveness, like this author said. And cultural diversity has become one of the keywords in European Union, like this author says. And the principle of inclusion, the commitment, is based on the acceptance of individual differences and valuing the individual knowing how to accept diversity in a process of cooperation and knowledge. So inclusion is part of an ethical principle of promoting diversity, respecting differences, and reducing social inequalities. And this implies the consideration of the ethical dimension, referring to the principles and values that are at its genesis. The dimension concerning the implementation of policy measures, promoting and framing actions in communities, and concerning educational practices. And we all know that where there is domination of one over the other, it is the legitimation of inequality, like Fontana says. So we also have all these international support, and this is a few, that support what is the right to be different, the cultural diversity. But all of these documents are nothing if we don't recognize that there is a large amount of cultures that exist, that we have to respect each other differences, that we have to acknowledge that all cultural expressions are valid, and valuing that what culture have to bring to the table, and empowering diverse groups to contribute and celebrating differences, not just tolerating them. Because tolerance has become of what we have today. And the benefits of this diversity, this cultural diversity, and I'm focused on cultural diversity because I'm talking about people, of course, and not by the species in general. We have to know that the world is natural diverse. It's this approaching diversity has to be with a mindset and actions that lead to many benefits, that like communication and understanding, I have already said that, of the difference to increase compassion instead of judgment, various perspectives and lanes of looking at the world. People that come together and bring their own style of working together tend to support more productive teams. Diversity opens the door to new opportunities and the blending of ideas which would otherwise have been homogeneous. It will be boring, in fact. And having people with different backgrounds can lead to better problem solving, which is the richness of the opinions of each other, and the important role in the sustainability of our communities, organizations, and environment at large. So by embracing diversity, we open ourselves to ideas, new ideas, innovative solutions, and inclusive practices that are essential in addressing the urgent challenge posed by the ongoing climate crisis. And this plays a very important role in sustainability in our communities. So to explore how diversity can be a strength in addressing complex issues like climate change, we should think about it in the context of the places where we live. The communities is where people live. It's where we do our daily things. We go to work, so all the human communities is what we are talking about. We are talking about well-being, and we are talking about preserving our home, that is our planet. As they say, there is no planet B. And also the ecosystems and other perspectives. So we know that the climate crisis is one of the most significant challenges of our time, and demanding urgent and concerted action from all sectors of the, I don't know, yes. And by the way, this diverse in communities refers to the presence of different cultures, and it will be much more, different backgrounds, beliefs, identities within a community. But if we don't have migrants, for example, it will be the same. So what I want to say is that different communities bring unique knowledge, skills, and approaches to this thing of climate action. Sometimes I'm talking with farmers and fishermen, and they know more than us sometimes, and indigenous people, because they reflect, they think, and we don't have time to think. They observe things around them. About the ecosystem, this encompasses the variety of species, habitats, and ecosystems found in nature, because biodiversity is essential for the ecosystem stability and its resilience and overall wealth. And I'm not going to say all the things, because then we can be together and talk about it. I want to leave you some time for questions. And in diverse perspectives, it involves the range of viewpoints, knowledge, and experience that individuals bring to environmental discussions. So inclusive dialogues and collaboration among stakeholders with different viewpoints can lead to creative and effective climate solutions. So as I was saying, this is one of the most bigger challenges that we are going to face. And the concept of harmony in diversity, I like this concept because it offers a promising framework for addressing this crisis, emphasizing the need for diverse approaches, inclusive participation, and sustainable practices. So this has impacts on environment, rising global temperatures, food insecurity, water scarcity, changes in rainfall patterns, and increased evaporation rates contribute to water scarcity in certain regions, greenhouse gas emissions, extreme weather events, and biodiversity loss. And we need to understand the urgent nature of the climate crisis and its wide-ranging impacts on the environment and society, and recognize the critical need for collective action. The president of the municipality that was talking, yes, she talked about the fires. And the fires are one of the parts that most of the countries face, and it's because the small animals that live under the ground, they don't have water, so they go and they drink the water of the trees, and the tree doesn't have that part that is the humidity that preserves from the fire. So when the fire starts, it's much more quick than it was before. And that is one of the big problems. But we are going to face a lot of things. If the trends continue by 2100, we will have 4.8 degrees increase in global average temperature. And you say, oh, but I will not be here. But our children will be, our grandchildren will be. And even if we don't have children, are we humans? We have to preserve our planet. We have to care. That is something that has disappeared. And other thing is that the problems are compounded by exponential population growth. The human species appeared about 200,000 years ago, and 10,000 years ago we were close to 4 million. In 2015, our children and grandchildren will live on a planet with 9 or 10 billion people. 1,000 billion, yes. Despite the efforts to promote solutions and biodiversity loss, environmental impacts, and greenhouse gas emissions continue to worsen and are the heart of multiple crises that's rooted in the core of our current society. So this transition must be fair, inclusive, transparent about planetary boundaries, and the understanding that we are living in a finite planet. You all know about dogmat economics. Maybe Eduardo is going to talk about it. And climate change is definitely not about the uncertain future of our grandchildren or the future of the next generation. It is happening now, and we are going to face it. So to have sustainability, we need to change our mindset, a mindset of win-win, and get out of the crystallized models of false security we are used to. And I'm going to make an exercise with you. I will ask you all to stand up, please. Oh, you are good sitting, but no, now you are going to stand up. And I want you to make an exercise with me. Do it like this, and then, yes, cross your arms. Yes, that's it. And then, again, cross your arms. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you to cross your arms to the other side. Instead of being, for example, I put this in here, no, we do this, and then we do this. It's difficult. Yes, change is very difficult. Yes. And that's what I want from you from this point forward of my communication, that you open your mind to change, okay? Because this transition can be our choice or it will be imposed. That is for sure. If we can choose now, or we can face a worse crisis than we are facing now. I like very much this author, and she says that, and also Taibo, and they say that climate change is not the only crisis we are going to face. In addition, we have demographic problems and the social scenario of growing inequalities, injustice, hunger, energy poverty, diseases, naturalization of marginalization of women, the financial crisis, women's rights violation, racism, xenophobia, women traffic, corruption, out of control technologies. So this shows us what the states are doing. And Naomi Klein says the attempts to address climate change will be fruitless unless they are seen as part of a much larger battle of worldviews, a process of rebuilding and reinventing the idea of what is collective, what is communal, what are common resources, what is civilized, and what is civic. And that's what we lose in our world. And in a very short time, in the past 30, 25 years, we lost everything. And this has to do with values. And it has to do with the values of solidarity. And we lose that. We are very competitive, and we don't think that the strongest power is to be cooperative. So this will impact in people and environmental spaces more than everything else. I believe that community intervention is the driving force behind grassroots movements that advocate for climate action. Local communities organize to address immediate threats and to push the broader system changes. And this requires the participation of all the community members and has to have a holistic approach, a collaborative network, and advocacy and education. So empowered communities are better equipped to advocate for their needs and drive systemic change. I brought you some examples of case studies, for example, with solar energy in rural communities. In Barfoot College, the women are trained to become solar engineers, empowering them to install and maintain solar systems in their village. In this other community, Makopka, over 1 million solar home systems were installed and 3 million people benefit from this clean energy. In this case study, in Samso Island, it has become a model of a community-driven renewable energy with residents collectively owning and managing wind turbines. And in Isle of Giga in Scotland, they call it the dancing ladies that are wind farm generating substantial income from the community. And this works. I could talk about each one of these cases, but it's with the short of time I cannot do it. And the third example that I bring to you is biomass energy in agriculture areas. These are my favorites. Convert rice husks into electricity, providing power to rural villages, and electrified over 600 villages and reduce carbon emissions by replacing diesel generators. This is in Brazil, the use of sugar cane bagasse for energy production, powering local communities and industries. And this powers powers numerous sugar mills and generates surplus electricity for the grid and significant reduction in waste through the use of bagasse. And also this converts agricultural residues into renewable energy, reducing waste and providing a sustainable energy source to local communities, and reduces landfill use. I had a lot of examples that I could give to you, but I really want to discuss more than anything else. So I just want to talk about the challenges that we have over this kind of projects. Financial constraints, that is high initial costs, the investment. And governments don't want to invest, and many rural areas lack the financial resources to invest in solar or wind energy infrastructure. And with this comes everything. Access to technology, the lack of local expertise and maintenance capabilities can hinder the long-term sustainability of renewable energy projects. And sometimes social resistance, the community acceptance, because they don't trust us anymore. They don't trust academia, they don't trust politicians, they don't trust nobody, because these people are always wishing to have some hope. But even now, I don't see that hope in the young people. So we are facing also this kind of things, the capacity to dream, the capacity to be engaged with things. People are like, okay, this is the system. They don't understand that the systems are themselves. But also I found opportunities like microfinancing, crowdfunding, and green bonds to support renewable energy investments, community education programs, and awareness and training. So addressing this challenge through strategic opportunities can significantly enhance the adoption of success of these projects. And this needs an holistic approach for fostering a sustainable and resilient energy future. I was not pretending to to bring you my model, because my PhD was exactly in ecological sustainability of vulnerable communities. And then I realized that I have to disseminate the model. Sometimes I have this feeling, okay, I'm not going to talk about what I did, but then I realized that I have to. And why? Because it's a model created by a social worker, and because it has a lot of contributions of other areas, and that's what makes this model so holistic. We really need to face complex problems, and so this also requires complex action. And this approach has to see several conditions fulfilled. It is a relational world view, a multi-level and multifocal approach to co-create social change, the building of communities and networks in their multiple dynamics and variables, and an ethical political reflection as an ongoing exercise through which we drive the process of social change in the desired direction of sustainability and social justice. And why social work? Because we have to work with multidisciplinary teams. Recently, I was in the Green Chemistry Conference as a keynote honoree, and I'm in the scientific committee with all the engineers of chemistry and physics. We have to show ourselves, to show what we are capable of doing, and they need us. They told me, oh, thank God you are here, because we need people that know about social problems, to apply for projects, for example. I don't care if they are only seeing the money. I have my strategy, they have them, okay? As long as they don't do nothing that I feel it's not ethical, it's okay for me. They can go on with their projects, and I want to achieve the communities, okay? It is a strategy like everyone else. What led me to this model was the fact that I thought transversality of environmental and social issues, this goes everywhere. Oh, by the way, as the chemic is everywhere, so I start to think about it also. Economic crisis and others, one after the other, we are being stretched to the limit. We cannot do that thing that we learn in psychology, the spiral of accommodation with the information. We are overloaded with information. Sustainable development, ecological justice is put in stake. We are near 2030 and the goals are not accomplished. And we are starting to question human rights. So we have new challenges, and the old remain, they are not solved. And therefore, and this is very small because I could not do it, that's why I create a model of intervention that has theoretically the ecological perspective, the empowerment approach, and it has the multifocal vision of Judith Lee, that is one of my favorite authors, because she works 7 theoretic axes: historical view, ecological systemic vision, feminism, class, cultural and multicultural perspective, global perspective, critical reflection, theory, perspective, and we can add more. And why does she do this? Because when we go to a community, we have to know what was this before is what it is. What happens? What is the story of this country, of this community, of these people, in order to understand their needs and what they are in such circumstances. And I could go and explain all of this. So I created this with the concept of eco-neighborhoods. It is organized in 5 levels. The individual, we can first we have to see what is happening with the individual. Then the relationships, the environment, the structures, and the superstructures. And the intervention needs, most of the time, the assistant dimension. I'm against the assistantism, but I consider that in the first phase, sometimes we have to do it. And then we go to human promotion, community dimension, and social political dimension. That is always the most difficult. So, based on what? On universality. As much as I travel, I see that ethical principles and values are really universal, not moral, not culture, but ethical, respect, social justice, equity, the values, the core values. And that should be in the base of our intervention every time, and critical thinking, etc. And that should lead our action. And the action will have the multifocal vision, the transdisciplinarity, multidisciplinarity, interdisciplinarity, maybe the eco-neighborhoods or not, and the participated and network objectives. And why? Because it has to lead to integration. First, before empowerment, integration. If I'm not integrated, I can be included, but if I'm not integrated, I'm not part of it. So after that, after I feel that I am part of something, then I can work with the people and make them feel their citizenship and empower them to ecological sustainability. And this, I thought that it allows a comprehensive, holistic, universal intervention, unites various theoretical fields of research and guides professional and researchers towards the importance of an integrated, collaborative, and participatory intervention at various levels, and it has a multidimensional approach to individual environment relations involving all actors. And by the way, this is made in a never-ending relation between theory, practice, and research. Besides, because I think this has a new meaning for human communities in founding human rights, citizenship, respect for minorities, in the conservation of life and nature, and in the defense of freedom and individual responsibility, which justifies this rethinking of intervention strategy in the training of social work. So the significance of embracing diversity in all its forms, culture, social, ecological, as a source of straight innovation and resilience in the face of climate change, is the key for harmony in fostering connections, understanding, and solidarity among diverse communities, and working together through what we want, that is a sustainable future, as we are all trying to find a solution. And I think that the power of collective action, inclusive decision-making, and partnership across sectors and disciplines in driving effective solutions to climate-related issues, the complexities of the climate crisis and its impact on people and the planet by valuing diverse perspectives, engaging in meaningful dialogue and working together towards these common goals, can catalyze a positive change, build inclusive societies, and have a better world for all of us. And I have this here that I want to say you to finalize, but with so many papers. I hate papers, by the way. Yes, but I wanted to tell this. I'm a romantic, you know, so I always want to end something with something beautiful, not to forget that also there are beautiful things. Yes, this is mine. Let's be inspired by the examples of successful projects and initiatives, and that promote harmony in diversity while addressing climate change, and recognizing that the transformative potential of inclusive and collaborative approaches together let us take also the opportunity to make the difference, to empower communities, and to protect the next generations. And Margaret Mead, I always tell the story of the colibri that wants to delete a fire, to erase a fire with a drop. And people say, "What are you doing? Are you crazy?" And I says, "I'm doing my part." And Margaret Mead says, "Never doubt that small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Let us be those thoughtful and committed citizens, united in our diversity, harmonious in our actions, and driven by a shared vision of sustainable and equitable future. And the time is to act now." Thank you. Okay, I have time for questions?
Yes.
Ah, good.
Yes. We have
This
about
is because
15
he was my
minutes
teacher, you
for
know.
debating.
They didn't let us talk a lot.
Thank you, Helena.
Okay.
So we have time to debate.
Very good.
So please have your questions. If you
Now I
want
can
to,
see you better.
you raise the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Jorge. Yes, it's coming.
Okay.
Good morning, this is Jorge Gómez from Universidad Complutense de Madrid, in Spain.
Complutense de Madrid, sí.
Yes. I missed a word in your presentation, which is engagement. I mean, you talk about harmony, you talk about diversity, how to fight the climate crisis, this eco-social approach. My experience, personal experience, I'm vice director of technology and sustainability, so it's my responsibility to work in this area, is that I often find that there is no commitment, there's no engagement. Everybody's concerned about climate crisis, but not everybody is willing to do anything. They point at you, say it's your responsibility, I mean the governance of the university, to do something. And I really miss this view in the presentation, because it's true that we have to do something. You propose a framework, you propose several actions, but at the end you need people committed to this, maybe because it's a responsibility, but also
persistence.
You need also engagement from the people who is not in the governance, otherwise it doesn't work. So this is my usual concern every day, that I have to take on my responsibilities, and I find this very difficult. I like your perspective on this, because all I see is it's good approach, but I find every time that I have a plan that I crash against the reality of every day. So it's very difficult to ground these ideas to the daily practice of any management area. So if you have some thoughts about this, I would appreciate.
Okay. That
Thank
is
you.
one question that constantly my students ask me. How do you do it? It's persistence. You know, I'm going to say something to you. Before, I always think about it. Well, I have to change the world. And now I know that I'm not going to change the world. But I do it for me. You know why? Because I don't want to be corrupted by the system. So I persist in believing in this kind of things. The rest of the people have their own path, and they have to learn by themselves. I cannot change people's mind. I cannot change my students. I cannot change you. But I can speak. And that I will do. And I can believe, because it's inside of me. Then I sometimes arranged strategies. As I told you, I started this area 14, 15 years ago. But I thought about it before. My master thesis was in ethics, so I reflect a lot in values. And I really love social work. I think it's the most beautiful area in the world. People don't know. They think that we are that we are kind people. We are not. Sometimes we are very bad. So I think that it has given me a large view of things. But each one of us has inside something and can only do their part. It's like the colibri. It's a small drop. And if we give up, oh, that will be the chaos. So when I say, and sometimes people look at me and she's crazy, that I'm a romantic, I am. And I am 64 years old, and I will pretend to be like that until I die. Because if I came to this point of my life, it is very, very difficult, because you are fighting with economic interests and, worst of all, with egoic people. You know, I think that the academy is like legs with egos. It's more or less like this. But I can say the things, I can laugh about it, I can remain with my mental health, and above all, I can sleep every night and say, okay, I did my part. So if you want to join me, you are welcome. Okay? Yes?
I like Margaret Mead, and your quote was right on the point. And so I'm wondering, do you have a quote, or do you have one or two words or phrases that we need to go with so that we can quote you one day?
If I have what? I didn't understood.
Do you have a sentence or two that we can leave here and quote you like you just quoted Margaret Mead?
I cannot hear. Oh, you have to speak louder.
I said, you quoted Margaret Mead, right?
Yes.
Yes, and I love that. I love Margaret Mead. But then, can you give us something to quote you when we leave here?
To quote me?
Yes. Like one phrase, one word, or one sentence?
O que é uma frase para me definir? Oh, I'm just a normal person. I am just normal. Sometimes I'm very joyful and I laugh with everything. And sometimes I think it's not me that I'm too good, it's the others that are very bad. Okay? No, I'm joking. Just be yourself and do what you believe. Because sometimes we have to do things that we don't want. But what is inside us is our biggest power. What we have inside us. Okay, I could not do this now, but then I don't give up. I go. Okay? Hi.
Hello, I am Scott Self from Abilene Christian University in Texas in the United States.
Oh.
I appreciate the idea of harmony. I appreciate the idea of harmony and diversity. I heard the possibility of even harmony with capitalism. I think in the United States, those of us who believe in diversity and who believe in diversity and protecting the climate feel like we are in conflict with capitalism.
We need the money.
I was interested in your, you seem to imply that you work with corporations, and so I'd like to hear a little bit about the implication that you live in harmony with capitalism.
I live in harmony with everything because it's not inside me, it's out. But regarding your question, and I understand, because when people look at social worker, we are fighting. I don't fight. I don't fight. I use their strategy. For example, now I'm working with, by the way, I'm in a network of companies, and I'm in conflict dispute resolution that you have in Complutense, and I'm also part of that group, of that lab. And they have also humanitarian action. And for that, I I'm working and I'm publishing, I published recently, it's coming out, article about how corporate social responsibility can be a help in human traffic in labor, for example. So I need the market. I'm not going to live, I'm only one. It was not me that said, leave no one behind. It was them. Okay? The United Nations said that, not me. So, okay, they say leave no one behind, that's what I'm going to do. Or they say we need a sustainable, economical sustainable. Oh, I agreed. I agree because people need to eat, people need to have jobs, people need to survive, and the market needs that people buy things, don't they? Okay, it was not me that invented the economy. I just learned. So my strategy is to pick, it is what this says in my definition of social work, to go to other social sciences and take what they have. That's what I do. I go to economy, geography, sociology. Oh, they all work for me. That is my perspective. You are welcome.
Hello, ma'am. I am Dr. Banerjee from India. So you shared one case study where community women were trained in solar
Yes.
technology. So if you can share how, 1 or 2 points on how these trainings were given, because I am assuming that initially they don't have the background. So you have to upskill them. So maybe 1 or 2 points. Thank you.
Okay. Let me see. It is this one, isn't it? This? Yes. Okay. I have here my notes, don't worry. I don't know it by heart because I start, but I have here my notes. So this was the installation of solar panels, and they were taught to do that. Let me put this here, please. This without the mouse is very difficult to me. In various regions in India, Kenya, and Bangladesh. So in Barefooted College in India, they train women to become solar engineers, empowering them to install and maintain these solar systems in their villages. And that as the capacity of, in Barefoot, over 3,000 women were trained for that, and more than 18,000 households were electrified. If this is not true, it's because the information of the engineers that wrote about it is not true. But I'm not an engineer, so I don't know how this works, in fact. I'm just the part that maintains after, because sustainability is a process, so we have to maintain. It's not put things there and that's okay. You didn't know about this project? Diga? Yes? You didn't? So you have to look for it. It's all over internet. But it's a small project, of course. It's not from all India. Yeah. In fact, India has a lot of projects in communities, but small communities. Yeah. It's one of the countries that has a lot of projects. And it's normal that, but you are very big also. Yes.
One more question?
Yeah?
One more question? Yep.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Maharoof from UK, Bedford College Group. So you mentioned about co-creation of social sciences, and in terms of my problem, as especially looking at human tendency, if we see the greed and control over the resources, if you see that politicians and businessmen work hand in hand to get the control and the benefit out of it. So in terms of actually when you suggest about advocacy and education for changing the world view, how you see that is complicated because most of the problem we see around the world, including war, is actually because of the politics and the control over the resources. Even we see what is coming next is basically climate change migration. So how actually we do things so that the proposed approach or framework you said about or co-creation of social change who are less powerful and deprived in terms of human rights?
Well, I have no formulas, but I have reflections, of course. Human nature has always been like this. The only thing, and it has passed through a lot of moments that they were imposed to change. So we have the tools now and the knowledge to make the choice. But I know that human nature sometimes have no capacity to do that. It needs to go down very deep and then coming up. And this year we celebrate the Magna Carta of 75 years of human rights. You see what we did in 75 years? After we have the knowledge of what could be something so savage as it was the Second World War. But we are still reproducing other wars. We cannot imagine. Recently I was in Ankara, and then I was in an association of empowering humans of Syria and Lebanon. And I thought, we don't know nothing about resilience. We talk about resilience, what is that? And those women, they do small things in arts to achieve, to work with the empowerment of the others. But we cannot even use technology to disseminate their works or to disseminate their capacity of being empowered. Because if we disseminate, they are killed. So these are small things, because I'm very holistic, and but I'm also very micro. And so each issue that we approach is a world. Human nature is not going to change, but sometimes there are things that happen that give us more hope. And but there always is going to have people that want to take advantage, want to have power over us, and it's only a question of collectivity. People don't trust. People are created with fear. Our parents say, oh, don't do that, because they are going to do that for you. And I was the only child, so I don't have a child to play. And one of the things that my mother used to say to me, I could not play with the daughter of the lady that takes care of the building, because she was not of the same social class. Oh my God, you don't know how many hours I thought about, what is that? Why cannot play with this child that I love so much, and it's my age? And I was thinking and thinking and thinking. We cannot put things inside people. It has to do with the nature. That nature is ever. In all the religious books you find the nature of human being. In all the philosophy books you find the nature of human beings. It will be always like this. The only difference now is it's more faster. It's faster. So you don't have time to stop it. It's the only thing that is scary. But we cannot be afraid. Because being afraid is something that doesn't make us happy. The philosophers say that we are here to be happy. Okay? So I advise you to work, to do your part, and don't take too much weight, because we cannot do more than we do. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, thank you, Helena.
Okay.
It's really a very challenging. Sorry? Thank you, Helena.
I'm saying, are you proud of me?
Yes. Some years ago. we have a coffee break now. Just say that Helena conference is we live times of disharmony. We live times of uncertainty, and so we live in a very, very challenging times. Okay, and so it's this is I mean the global and as we are in Europe, the European context. We have very challenging timing of disharmony. We have very challenging times on the control of climate change or the policies that may control. I mean the climate changes. Anyway, I'm just the moderator. We are going to have now a coffee break, and we came again at 11 o'clock. Thank you.